Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Beth O'Connor. Welcome to our webinar, Stratus for New Agents. I'm really glad you're taking a little time out of your busy day to maybe just get a little bit of the hang of some of the odd things that are hard to get used to, or et cetera. So on I should point the other direction, your GoToWebinar panel has the place where you can type in questions for me, because I can't hear your voices. So you're just going to type in questions there. And I am recording this, so it'll be posted. I'll show you later where to find it. And let's see. Just want to double check that everybody, good, okay. So yeah, so recording this. Also, you'll notice in that GoToWebinar panel on the right side, is 5 handouts that I've given to you. You can download them right from there. There's a flyer, there's the last status change, there's the Stratus, just 2 slides from this, so you'll have my contact info, our winter technology schedule, and our full winter education catalog. So you can download those. If for any reason you can't download them when the webinar is over, just email me and I'll send them to you directly. Okay, so I'm going to get this webcam out of the way. And we're going to get started. All righty. So you can see I've logged into Stratus here, and there's really so much to cover, and with only an hour, I want to make sure I highlight really the most important things. Actually, I first have a question for all of you. I'm going to ask you, what is your biggest challenge with Stratus so far as new agents? I'm assuming something along the way. So you just go ahead and vote there. Click on the one, excellent. A few people are talking about the maps. Okay, great. All right, let's finish that up and I'll share the results with you. So it looks like most of you seem to be having issues with finding comps. So we'll definitely cover that. We're going to cover the maps. We're really going to cover all of this, but this helps me know sort of where to hone in on, okay, as far as that is. So let me hide that. And we're back to my Stratus screen. So the key things I want to highlight here are today's listing section is really one of the most important things that realtors look at when they first log into Stratus, because it tells me what the new listings are and if any of them have had a price change or gone in under contract or even closed. This is sort of, other MLSs call this a hot sheet. So this is your hot sheet, and it's telling me that since today, now I can change that. I can go a day back or a couple of days back. Let me go 3 days back. That there've been in this segment where I have 3 village towns, that's Setauket, Stony Brook, East Setauket, Oldfield, all of that. There are 4 new listings and 28 updates, and each one of those is a link to see those actual listings. So I'm going to show you how to set this up. You're going to do it in your settings. So on the menu on the left side, I'm just going to click on settings. And this is something you should probably take a look at periodically and just double check. Make sure you upload your photo, your agent photo, so that you can get your lockbox card. It's an automatic thing. As soon as you upload your photo here, it triggers the order for your lockbox card. So the market areas was where I set up that 3 village res and condo. And I said I wanted just res and condo co-op. And I selected a bunch of towns from this list here. I clicked on select multiple towns. Okay, so it's as simple as that. And you can have up to 5 groupings. If you have a particular client who's looking for something here, I have set it up to look for residential just in Port Jefferson for a specific client. So it can be edited, changed as often as you want, and you can have up to 6 of them. Don't forget to hit save it when you make your changes or additions. And then I always like to test it. I go back to the info center and just double check. If I'm looking at this group here of 69 updates and those listings are not in Mount Sinai through all the way over to Wading River, then I know something's not right. Do you see this? Somehow I'm getting Comac, Dix Hills in for that search. So I have some correcting to do for this particular segment here. So you would want to go back to your settings and correct that. Now there's another option for keeping updated, and that's this link down here at the bottom, go to update. It's really not related to this one because it does different things. When you click on this one, you can specify the status that you're looking for. And again, these abbreviations are in your handouts in the GoToWebinar panel on the right side of your screen. And we've identified all of these different abbreviations and also some of the abbreviations on that you'll see on listings as well. So for example, if I just wanted to see expired listings in, let's just do Levittown. And I just want to go back, it's remembering my last thing. So let's say we want to go back maybe just a month. Okay, and then I can just submit that. And these are the listings that have expired in Levittown in the last month. Okay, so just to refresh how I got there, I was on the info center and I just went right here to this update. So that's another way for you to keep on top of your market and to see what's going on. All righty. Now, I want to talk about this quick search section because it's really very handy to have this right in front of you. And I want to show you how you can save some searches so you'll always have them available. So we're going to work today. We'll start talking about working with a buyer who's looking in Levittown, East Meadow, and Wantagh. Okay. And they're looking for a house. So we select residential available. You're always going to leave that public and private. Most of your offices don't put private listings on Stratus, but some do. So we just want to start typing. So I just type LEV and then I select it off the list. I never have to type Levittown all the way out. We wanted Wantagh, WAN, and East Meadow. That's spelled out. Sometimes East is E period space, so if you can't find it. So I've got those 3 towns, and they're looking for anything under 400,000. So just put my 400. The following zeros are already there. Okay, now I've got a countdown here at the bottom of 17, and that's really helpful because if you have 0, something's not right. So let's say, for example, I wanted everything, by mistake, I put everything under 40,000 and I see 0. Then I know that something's not right. The preview can really help with that too. I like to look at the preview. It's easier for me to spot the problem. Okay, oops, sorry. Let's go back. All righty, put those towns back in. And Wantagh. Okay, and they wanted a max 400. All right. Did I somehow didn't get my Levittown. I didn't select it. Looks like the majority of these are going to be in Levittown. Now you can go ahead and put in bedrooms and baths, but watch your count go down the more things you put in. So if they want a minimum of 4 bedrooms, you're going to see that drop quite a bit because many of them are going to be 3-bedroom homes. All right, so if it's super important, put it in. If not, leave it off and sort the listings later on, okay? You also have this option down here at the bottom to add a field. Maybe they want to see if there's anything on a cul-de-sac. So you could just find that field here, cul-de-sac, and say yes. And none of them are, so I'm going to remove that. Okay, we'll just take that right off and we're back to our 17 properties. Now, one thing I wanted to show you is how you could save this criteria that we've put in, meaning save the towns with that price, and so you don't ever have to type that again. So I'm going to click on Save Search, and I'm going to call it Levittown. Let's say our client's name is Jones, and save. So let me clear this and you'll see how I can use that. So let's say tomorrow I want to use that Levittown Jones search. I come up here to use search and I find the Levittown Jones and it autofills all of that we just did. So don't type more than you have to. Save your searches if you think you'll need it more than once. Maybe you just want to keep an eye on properties, things like that. So you can have as many saved searches in here as you want. All right. Let me just check for questions. I will look for questions after each segment. We've covered today's listings and we've covered the quick search. So I don't see any questions on that yet. Great. Okay. So what I'd like to do is, I did forget to cover one thing. I'm just looking at my list here. This open houses box down here at the bottom, it mirrors what you've got in your today's listings. So whatever towns I had here, I could then go and see what open houses are coming up. And if you just want the broker open houses, you can take consumers off, and then you can see there's 11 coming up in the next, let's see what's just today and tomorrow. Just one. Okay, so you can see that there's a broker open house tomorrow. All right, with lunch. Oh, we like that. Okay, so your open house, that's handy also to be able to just quickly see what open houses are coming up without having to do a big search for it. So now I want to show you how to use the maps because I think they're underutilized. I don't think people use them enough. And the way to get to the maps is a little convoluted, but you got to go over here in your menu to this search. If it's collapsed, just open up listings and click on this search right here. And this is where you can get to the map search. So you can see the maps from anywhere, but to start a search on the map, you're going to want to come here, okay? So we want to see if what listings are in those towns under 400,000 for that particular client. So I'm going to just leave this at my default. These are other saved map shapes that I've created over time. So I'm just going to hit continue. And it's going to open to my market area, which is out east in Suffolk, but I'm going to actually go to locations and type in Levittown. Okay. I always have to put New York because there is a couple more Levittowns in the country. So there's really too many listings, right? Because this is such a large view. So you really need to zoom in a little bit before you're going to actually see the red circles for the properties. And the legend here, I'm going to click on this link right here where the word legend is. If you can see my mouse, that tells me what the colors mean. So red is available, blue is closed, purple expired, etc. All right. And the nice part about this is that you can kind of isolate. So maybe they grew up, this particular client, the Joneses, they grew up in this neighborhood of Levittown and they just loved it. They're near the pool and all of that kind of thing. So you want to draw that area for them. So you only send them those listings. So I'm going to come over here to my drawing tools here and I'm going to use the polygon. And that will allow me to control this. So I'm going to just click the spots, just keep clicking. We'll go all the way down here and we'll sort of hug on Wantagh Avenue and we'll go up to Hempstead Turnpike. And then you have to finish it where you started. And then that will close it. There we go. Okay, so now I know I'm dealing with only those particular listings where they said they wanted to live. Okay, this is not me determining where they want to live. This is what they've told me. Okay, that's important to remember. Now, if you want to change that shape, you can just click on the pencil, click on the shape, and then you can drag your little circles. Okay, And the great thing is you can save these shapes. So you have this option up here at the top. So my client is the Jones, and I'll put Levittown because sometimes I find that to be helpful, looking in Levittown. And that will now be one of my saved shapes in this drop-down list. It will also show when I start a new map search. So remember I told you I had saved shapes. So there is Jones Levittown. And it was a good thing I called it Levittown because I had somebody else called Jones in there. All right. So if you wanted to bring that shape back in the future, you can do that. Okay. Now, when you're looking at properties in the map views, a lot of things you can do to kind of make it a little bit easier. And one of them is to just toggle these sections out of your way. This little circle here will let me do that. And you do have this panel on the side that if you want to narrow it down a little bit further, you could put in, maybe they're looking for at least a one-car garage. Some of these houses do not have, right? So I did minimum one car. And you can add any other fields that you need here, like I showed you before. You can set up a prospect search here. This would send an automatic notification to your client. And you'll run into a lot of agents who are using that. Honestly, I think for new agents, I think Stratus might be a better way. I'm sorry, Collab, excuse me. And I'm going to show you how to get Collab on your phones later. It's just a little bit more sophisticated. But if you wanted to create an automatic search, you would just click on prospect here and you would put in their email and information like that. And then they would start getting notifications if anything new comes in, not these group, not this particular group, but anything new that comes in, they'll get an email notification. Okay, and you will too. You'll get a copy of it as long as you made sure that you did this. Now, when you're looking at a group of listings, you can actually toggle back and forth from different views here. So right now we're at the map. You see the globe up here at the top, right? It's kind of darker gray in the background. And I can use those same 9 listings in different ways. So I can go over to the list view, which looks like an Excel spreadsheet, right? And I can look at them here. I'm going to show you a little bit about this in just a second. But the view in between list and map is how you can see the different reports. This one is called broker full. Do you see that here? Broker full. This is the one that you need to see before you show the property. If you want to give it to a client, you want to pick one of these client versions. The client ones show the price history. The consumer and customer ones do not show any price history. So that's the difference. But sometimes things like comparison is nice if you're taking someone out to see a few houses. And again, you can just toggle back and forth with these different views. One that I love also here, this view, is photos. Do you see this icon here at the top next to maps? So this way I can get a larger view of each of these 9 properties. And I can check them off if I want to create, maybe I want to create a little cart for a buyer that I'm taking out, right? So I could just check them. I'll check these few off. If I click the photo, it'll even get bigger here. And just, it's so great now that we're getting high resolution photos. Not everybody's putting them on, but the ones that are just unbelievably crisp. Now, isn't that beautiful? I'm thinking that that's been a little bit Photoshopped. That's okay. The grass, they can do that. And it still has pumpkins and things like that, so they could Photoshop those out if they needed to. So anyways, I selected 3. I'm gonna set them aside. So I'm gonna close this and I'm gonna put them in a listing cart. Do you see this cart up here at the top? So I'm gonna create a new one. And this is I'm gonna put an asterisk in front just so that it'll show up at the top of my list. And we're gonna go out on Saturday. That would be February 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna go see these properties. Okay, so I'm going to put those 3 into the Jones cart, right? And you can individually put them in. If you had another one, you can just click on the single cart there and put it in. something like that. And then all your carts are over here under My Lists. Do you see this here, listing carts? You also have a spot for favorite listings. So if I have a property, maybe not for a client, but I just want to keep an eye on it. This one, let's say on Rope Lane, I want to know what goes on because I think it's really overpriced. So I'm going to click on the yellow star or the gray star, and it turns yellow. And now it's been put into my favorite listings. So I find that an easy way to for listings that I want to keep an eye on. Okay. I'm just going to check. I think we have a few questions. Hopefully that answered your questions about the shapes there that we just covered, Joel. We just covered that before, and you'll be able to review it in the recording, okay? How to create shapes on the maps. Let's see, I'm going to check my list here, make sure I've covered everything I wanted to. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about this view. There's a couple things you can do here that really make it handy. So, for example, maybe I want list price all the way over here on the left side. I can actually drag and drop that column and let go. Oh, I let go too soon. There we go. Oop, still too soon. There we go. Now I have list price. I can sort them by list price highest to lowest or lowest to highest. You just keep clicking and that will change that. The globe will put that one property on the map, right? The clock is the history of the listing, which is really important for you to see. If you're taking someone out, you want to see if there's been more than 2 or 3 price changes. Sometimes there's 20 price changes, and the history is really the only way you can actually see that. Okay, so history, the clock is a good thing to see. If it has one of these doors in this column here, none of these do, but that means there's a virtual tour for that property. And the courthouse little building there is linked to the public record for that property. And sometimes it's not linked. Could be that the agent couldn't find it when they put the listing in or something. Maybe it was a tear down. You never know what the reasoning could be, but you can search it also on your own. So you get some good information from the public records here. Okay. Let's go now to, we want to talk a little bit about I missed the first step. How do you get the Levittown on the map? All right, since we're getting a lot of questions about the maps, let me just show you that again. So when I wanted to draw a shape, so I'm going to put these 9 on the map. I'm just going to click on map. Here's my shape here. And the way that I got to Levittown was this push pin at the top here, locations. That's where you can put in an address or a town. I'm going to show you that again in just a second when we do some sold, look for some comps. All right. And again, to start your shapes, it's over here on the top right. You just select your shape that you want. You can actually have more than one shape. You can have 5 shapes if you want. No limit. Unfortunately, though, when you hit the trash can to get rid of one, they're all going to be gone. So that is one thing for you to be cautious about. So if you want to email listings to somebody, you're going to use the envelope at the top right here. You may not be able to see because the GoToWebinar panel might be hiding it. Let me just make this a little bit smaller and so you can see. Okay. So at the top, you'll have the send icon, right? The envelope here. And I would recommend testing it out if you haven't sent any yet. Just make sure you're sending the right thing. I'm going to send this to myself. You should do the same thing just to see what happens when you send listings. And because I didn't have any listings selected, I can actually choose all 13 here. And I can choose which report to send them. Now, the default is one that without an address, which is really, it's very 1980s. It's not the way it's done anymore. You definitely want to share the addresses with your clients. So you would want to choose the client full, maybe the client full with photos, customer full. with photos, those kinds of things. And you'll get a broker full copy. You won't get the client view. You'll get more information than they will. Okay, so test that out, and you just want to double check that each time that you're sending them the right type of report. Okay. Same with printing. If you want to print anything, always use the icon in Stratus for printing. Don't use your browser. Don't go to your browser's print like that, because you're going to get the advertisements and the icons, and that's not what you want. You want to definitely use the Stratus print button so that everything will look exactly as you want it. Okay. All right. So now what do we want to do is maybe spend a little bit of time looking at how to find the comps, how to find unavailable listings. So we're going to get ourselves all the way back to the info center. And for this example, we're going to use Levittown again, and we're going to work with a client who has called you and is thinking about selling and has asked you to come to their house. So what you want to do first is see what else has sold around and near them. You're going to get information about their house when you go and visit it, and then you can come back and refine your search. But what you want to do at least is get some information, a little bit of information about how it's going. And I'll show you how to do that. I like doing it on the map. So what I'm going to do is go to the search again and the map search, leave it at the default, and hit continue. So the seller who has contacted me I'm going to click on locations there. Their address is 60 Shelter Lane, Levittown. Oops, 6. And then I click find right next to it. You can put anything you want in here to find it on the map. Okay, so it put a push pin right on that house. Okay, and right now we're looking at what's available nearby. Okay, because I had left it at available when I did the search. So I can see there's not a lot of inventory. I don't have any price in or anything. There's really not that much for sale in that neighborhood. All right, so that gives you a sense, right? But you can see we're price-wise, we're kind of all over the place. There's a 519, 489. Let's see, 509. These prices just amaze me. My in-laws lived in Levittown forever, and they wouldn't believe this if they saw it. So you get a sense there of what's on the market, okay, around there. So now I'm going to do the same search. I'm just going to click right on search again, map search, but this time I'm going to do the unavailables. I'm going to do properties just like theirs, which is a Cape, 3-bedroom Cape. They gave me just a little bit of information, so I'm not going to have too much detail until I have visited the house. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at default, and I'm going to continue. Now I'm at unavailable. Again, I go to locations and I type in the address. And I click find. Now, there's so much under unavailable. Not only is it going to be properties that sold, but it's also going to be expired listings, things that are under contract, things that have been taken off the market. Watch what happens. I'll zoom in quite a bit and see if we can get some. If you don't get any results, just get closer. Okay, that's the bottom line. If you don't get results, get closer. Okay, so I've got these different colors. Again, the legend will tell me the black ones have been taken off the market, green is under contract, blue is closed, purple is expired. Now, there aren't that many expireds. The market's so hot there that it's pretty unusual for a listing not to sell. But if we only want the solds and we only want recent solds, what we're going to do on the side here is we're going to use the title date field. I'm down here on the lower right-hand side. You can see my mouse moving down here at the bottom. And I want to go back, let's go back 6 months. 3, 4, 5, 6. we'll go back to August 1st and watch what changes on the map. So now I know I'm looking at comps that are really recent, okay? These are properties that have sold within the last 6 months since August 1st. But I want to probably narrow it down even a little bit more. Maybe what I'm going to do is put in some bedrooms. Maybe we'll put our style in, which was a cape. Once I do that, all I have to do is click it and it automatically updates there. Bedrooms, there we go. So we want just 3 bedroom capes. So I put 3 in both boxes, so that will give me only 3. So now we know we're really looking at some similar properties. Okay, and again, down here, you'll see the sold prices are kind of a little bit closer together, but there's this one for 300,000. We're not quite sure what happened with that, if it was an REO or something like that. So we can look through them, and I can click right on the ML number to see the details, okay, about that house. This is what I call the broker full. It is the broker full. You see that here. And let's see what price they started at. It looks like they started at $399. And it sold for $385, so it was pretty well priced. It was on the market for, we're looking for DOM, days on market, 47, so less than 2 months it was on the market. It sold pretty quickly. And if we look at the, yeah, Mrs. Clean lives here, well-maintained, floor plan, so it was in pretty good shape, so that's probably why they got that 385. Now I'm going to use my arrows and go to the next. And this one sold for even more. It has been renovated to perfection. Okay, that's where they got their extra money. And if I click on the photos, I'll be able to see that they did the kitchen. They did everything. Looks like it was almost completely redone, everything, all the bathrooms. So that was worth a lot more in that. That's why they got their 425. Let's see how long that was on the market. Wow, this must have been a little, the last listing price was $399. Must have been a little bit of a bidding war because it ended up selling for $425. Okay, so they probably had multiple offers, and look at the days on market, 12 days. Pretty amazing. So that's a good thing. I want to point out, as I'm looking through these links at the top can be really, really helpful. Neighborhood info and school profile, those are outside companies that give us some detail. The public record would let me see ownership information. It comes from Nassau County. If you're looking in Suffolk, it's Suffolk County. If you're looking in New York City, it would be the New York City database, okay? You also have a link to RPR, which is a program I want you to explore. You all have an account there, and you can click on any listing right from here and get more information, more public records, more, and sometimes in many cases more than our own public records. So RPR comes from the National Association of Realtors. So it's a national database for realtors only. Consumers can't use it. So I think it's really got some amazing data in there, and it's worth clicking on this sometime to see it. I'm going to show you later how to put this app on your phone. Let me click on it now just to show you, because we're doing really well on time. If you get to RPR and it says you're not signed in, you already have an account. So you want to just do forgot password, and they'll send you a setting for the new password. And doesn't that picture look, this picture looks different than the one we saw on the listing. Oh, it just wasn't, I couldn't see the stonework there because of the lighting. But over here, we can actually see it a lot better. So they have the summary information, and much of this information is coming from our MLS, right? But others is information that they've collected also. And they're saying it had a valuation of 409, but it actually sold for 425. So this is similar to a Zestimate. And as you get more advanced, you can learn more about how to do CMAs here. and really take advantage of this database. Okay, I'm going to head back over to Stratus. I'm just using my tabs at the top here. I keep all my different windows and programs open while I'm going through them. And I can create a cart. Let's just return back to the map. So if I wanted to start a CMA, I could actually put the listings that I want into a cart. So let's start with this one. We're going to just hover over and click on the cart here, and I'm going to create a new one. And this is going to be my CMA for 60 shelter. Just start the process, and then I'll show you how you can plug that in. So I'm going to put that listing on. And I'm going to put this one in. You could do them all at once, but for some reason I feel like just doing it this way. Okay, so we're putting all of these into our CMA for that 60 shelter lane. Okay, so that really makes it easy. You know that the properties are close by, you know information about them, and I like doing your research for your CMAs ahead of time so that you're not confused by all of the various components of the CMA. You're really just focusing on what's on the market. Now, maybe you want to see if there's anything currently under contract. Sometimes agents will use under contracts for their CMA if they can't find any sold listings, recent sold. So I'm going to take out that title date. I'm going to see if anything is under contract since December 1st. So we have 3 that are still under contract. They haven't gone to closing yet. And I might also use those in my CMA. And remember, we wanted to add some availables. So when you're doing a CMA, you want some availables, some closed, and some under contract. If you want to add expired, you can do that too. Let me take this out and just see if there's some listings. Like this purple one is an expired listing, and usually if it's overpriced, that can help you with your CMA. Okay, if you have any questions about what I'm doing, please type them into the questions box on the side and I will address them because I can't hear your voices. I wish I could, but it's just too many of us on the call. But if you joined in late, I am recording this, so you'll be able to go back and look at it on Stratus. So let's just quickly review how you would do a CMA here. Once you have those listings put into your cart, you're going to come over to the main menu and click on CMA. All right, so here's my current CMAs, but I'm going to start a new one. I'm going to call it 60 shelter. You can use the seller's name if you want, if that's easier. And it's really just filling out all of this information about the house, about the seller, their contact info, adjusting your cover page if there's something that you want to put there, a letter, those kinds of things. And then down here, you're going to add those listings from your listing cart. So those were I had a few availables and a few under contracts and a few sold. So I'm just going to add those to the CMA here. See that? So it's pretty simple, just filling out all of these pages and getting your listings. Let me just show you the side-by-side comparison. I didn't put information about 60 shelter in yet, but if I did, it would be in the first column right here. Okay. Sometimes agents who are really in a hurry, they just take this one page with them on a listing presentation. Or maybe you have clients who you think will just be completely overwhelmed by a 30 or 40 or 50 page document that you bring them. Maybe bring them something simple like this. Okay. That was called the side-by-side comparison. I just clicked on it at the bottom under table of contents. Now I have video, unfortunately in a short hour, I can't go through as much as I want, but I do have videos on most of these items. And I'm going to stop now and show you where to find those things. So in your Stratus at the top right corner, you've probably noticed this yellow light bulb that's called support. Okay. If you click the yellow light bulb, it opens up our support center that is primarily used by the technology trainers, myself, Laureen Zarba, all of our trainers, to show new agents and agents who just need a refresher on how to use the various things in Stratus. So this section here under training guides and videos, I'm going to click on that. And you can see, for example, under CMA, I did a video for finding comps. I did a CMA, just basic elements of the CMA. We've got a quick start guide using the map. Remember how I just showed you how I did that? And there's really a lot of detail in here about how to use things in Stratus. So hopefully you'll find that helpful. Also, while I'm here, I'll show you, this is where the recorded webinars go. So here's the upcoming live ones. You're on a live webinar today, right? That was in here. And then the recorded ones, here's the one I did in January. I seem to deviate in different webinars. I'm not quite sure what, it just depends on my mood, I suppose, what I cover in each one. So you may find something slightly different in the ones that we've recorded in the past. But also I have one that we did recently about the CMA in Stratus versus the CMA in RPR and which one is better. There's a whole bunch that you can check out here under the light bulb, okay? I see we have a question, so let me check that. Anybody have a question? Just type that in. Amanda, how do I add a contact? That's not, okay, that's an easy question. If you want to use Stratus as an address book, you can use the contacts here. It's different than, so I guess the confusion is here, if you have already put them in your address book, which is called contacts, you could just type their name there. So I think I have one called Ann something, right? So because I already put her in my address book, that's how she gets there. So I can autofill all of this here. But if you don't have her in your address book, close, then you're just going to manually, let me see if I can clear this. You're just going to manually type in their name, first name, last name. You have to put a source, how they found you. Maybe it was a referral and it's a seller. You see that? And then you just type in their address and their email address if you have it. Whatever you have, you don't have to use all. I frankly think they made this way too complicated. I think they could have just put one or two items here and let you go on. And then the subject property is, once I check this, that's the house that I'm trying to get the listing for. So if I check this box here, I can then type in all the information about the house. So they'll know that I've done my homework. They'll know that I've done my research. So for those of you who are new, I'll tell you, I sold my house last March, and actually, no, it was January, sorry. And the way it worked was the two realtors that we interviewed, both of them came by and did a walk through the house and just got information about whether we had all our COs and all of that. And then a day or two later, they provided me with this CMA. One left it in the mailbox. I will tell you that I thought there were way too many properties in that one. It was a little overwhelming to me, even though I've worked for MLS for nearly 40 years. I needed her expertise to know which listings were most like my house. And then the other one just had a good number of listings in it, but he had all the details about our house already because he had done the walkthrough. Okay, so I think that's generally how that works. I know sometimes new agents aren't quite so sure of the sequence of events. All righty, so let me just mention that on the contacts. I'm done with this CMA. I want to show you a finished one just before we move on. So I'm going to come out of this one. I'll leave this. I'm not even going to save it. Oh, all right. Let's do it a different way. Oh, now it wants me to log back in. I made it mad. Okay, so we're going to go to CMA, and I have one done for Poplar in Stony Brook. So I'm just going to click on that and I can edit it. I'll show you the finished product. And again, you can use as little or as much of this as you want. Maybe you only want to use a couple of pages of this. You don't have to use the whole thing, right? But whatever you do use, you'll have the option at the bottom to choose what prints. Okay, this is your printing option. So sometimes I take off things that will make the file really, really large and hard to email to someone. So the other thing I wanted to point out is you should definitely enter in some kind of a marketing plan. So if you are hoping to take someone's listing, they want to know specifically exactly what's going to happen from day one if they sign the listing agreement with you. So you've got to spell it out. Don't assume that they know what happens on week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So you somehow mine got reversed here. I don't know what happened. But I originally had week 1. I wonder if I can move it up. There we go. I just have to reverse them all and move that one up, move them all up so they're in the right order there. But just tell them what happens. When you put the listing on our MLS, it goes to all the different websites. I don't know if anybody does advertising anymore in the newspapers, but you might have an open house, you might have a consumer open house, all the different things that happens. Maybe you're going to send a postcard, you're going to put it on all of your social media and how many followers you have, all that kind of thing. Okay. So, and as you go through your CMA, you want to save periodically just so you don't lose anything because you could spend an awful long time here. Most the agents that I know probably I would say would spend an hour, hour and a half working on a really comprehensive CMA. It's not something you can do quickly. So my advice to you is do a CMA on your own house or a house of a family member or somebody you know the details of the house. You know how many bedrooms it has, baths, all of that. Just do it as if you're going to go on a listing presentation for that house. Okay, you can even use a fake photo or something like that. Go through the entire process and finish the CMA and see what you think. Print it out. Actually go to your printer. We'll preview this one. We won't send it to our printer, but see what you think. For some reason, I lost my logo. The company logo should show up right there. And I don't know how this little guy got on there, that minion. Somebody at my office, one of the programmers, I think, was messing with me. But he's kind of cute, so I've left him there. I'm not a realtor, so by the way, that's why I would leave him. You wouldn't. Okay. Your letter, a nice table of contents. Doesn't this look nice? All the subject property details. This is the side by side. Remember I said if I had finished it completely, the actual subject property would show here. And I really didn't fill in as much info about the house as I should have. Okay, but it lines them all up so the seller can see how the comps compare. And this is the same report, but it's just laid out horizontally instead of vertically. And again, this actually gives you the average price, the average listing price and sold price for the group that you picked, but that doesn't mean that's their price. And then just a little bit of info about each one so you can talk that over with them and explain this house. You could say something like, this house sold for $525, but their lot is twice as big as yours, and they have a full finished basement. Okay, it looks like it's partially finished, but let's just say it is. So that's why you're recommending that they be $499 and this was $525. So you're going to have that information ready when you go to see them. Okay, and then after all of that, you get a nice little map, right, that shows all those comps you picked, some statistical reports, some graphs, days on market. There's that marketing plan I need to, oh, look, it came out, almost came out right. I need to fix it. and that's that. Then you could just send it to your printer. So do that for me. Go through the CMA as if you're doing it, you're selling your own home, and I think you'll find that to be a really helpful exercise. All right, a couple things I wanted to show you before we close. We have about 10 minutes. If you take a listing, let me just bring up just one second. I want to talk about photos. So let me bring up a test listing that I'm allowed to play with, right? So this is not a real listing. We just put this on for practice for staff. And if you go to edit, if it's your listing, you'll be able to click on the pencil up here at the top, okay, to edit the listing. All right, so I'll just hit continue, and I just wanted to show you, this one is not linked to a public record because it's not a real house, so that's why I can skip that. Okay, so I wanted to go down to the photos section and show you how you can, first of all, you can rearrange the photos. So you just click and drag, right? So if you want this one to be the first one, the penguins, obviously that's just for fun. You know, and then you can, you can say something about each photo underneath this waterfront. Okay. Now, one thing I noticed though, that this picture was taken in portrait, not landscape. Your pictures should be taken in landscape, so they're wider than they are tall. So I'm going to click on this one, and I'm actually going to crop it. So I'm going to click on crop. That's the proper dimensions. You can adjust a little bit, but we'll probably do something like that. And when I hit apply, now it's the proper size. You see that? You can also make them brighter. If it's a little bit dark, the photo, you can brighten it. You see that? And to upload your photos, you just click on upload and go into your computer, and there's instructions about the pictures here, but many of you now are having professional photos done. The photos are so key on your listings that I'm certain that there's way more of you using photos than not. I would say never put a listing on without at least one photo, because that's your one shot. The new listing is your one shot to get it out. So at least have a nice photo of the outside of the house. All right, we have a question. All right, Carlos, we are recording this. Yes, he must have jumped in late. Yep, we are recording this. And the one other thing about your listings is that it's your responsibility to take a look at the property and make sure the red dot is in the right place, because we use Bing Maps from Microsoft, and sometimes their interpretation of where that property is wrong. So what I do is I zoom all the way in, right? And I actually like to go to the aerial view, and that way I can make sure that I'm on the right spot, make sure that circle. So I'm gonna actually move the circle over here. You don't drag it, you actually hold control and click where it should be. I don't know why that just happened. Hold control, click. I must have been too close to the highway there. Okay, and then you can submit the listing when you're ready, and you have all of the info about the property ready to go. Okay, if you put in listings, make sure you get some guidance from your office about all these different fields. And the preview is really helpful as you're going along, because you can see how the listing is going to look, right? You can see if there's anything glaring that's missing, anything that really needs cleaning up, if the photo looks horrible, that kind of thing. The preview can help you with that, okay? Let's just come out of that. I'm not going to save it. Now, I wanted to show you some of our market statistics reports, because one of the questions you're going to get all the time as a realtor is, how's the market? Is it good? Is this a good time for me to sell? Things like that. So there's two different options for you right here in this box called Market Statistics, right on the Info Center. Now, for some reason you don't see this, let me get rid of it and I'll show you. Sometimes you don't have it, in which case you come up here to your name at the top right, and you just hover over and you're going to see the removed panels, and I'm going to put the market statistics back by just clicking on it. There it is, but I like it over here. I like it there. Okay, so two different things. One has the MLS logo here, the market report generator. That's going to show you 3 years worth of information about a particular zip code or town. And then this one, this market statistics, can go back, I believe, just 1 year, 12 months. So let's show you both. So the market report generator, I'm going to click on this one. This is a great thing to bring to your listing presentations. So let's say we're going to look at, we'll do the Levittown. So I'm going to start typing, pick it off the list. And we just want residential. I'm going to take the condos and co-ops off. I'm going to leave everything else pretty much the same and just click Generate Report here at the bottom. And then when I do that, below comes up this report. So it's each one of these colors represents a 12-month period. So the median sold price between February 2017 and January 2018 was 410,000. And it's gone up each year, and you can actually really see it here. When the median is the middle, and when the middle goes up, that means you're seeing a general increase in prices, especially when you see the trend go over a 2-year or even 3-year period. Now that doesn't mean that's going to be, say, my property 60 Shelter Lane. That doesn't mean they're going to get 445. This is just telling me the median. This is just giving me and my seller some information about the market and what's happening. And you can email this, you can share it on social media, you can print a copy, etc. So that's kind of a fun one. Again, right from the Info Center, look for the MLSLI, the tiny logo at the bottom there, and click on that market report generator. And then this one, the market statistics, is a little more detailed. Let's do Levittown again. See if we see much different. And I'm going to do the previous year. And I don't need to put anything else in, just Levittown, previous year, residential, and I can submit that. So what this is doing is giving me things like the absorption rate, the supply and demand. It's definitely more of a statistical report, and some of your sellers are really going to appreciate this. So absorption time means if there are currently 96 properties on the market in Levittown and only 42 sold in December, then it's going to take 3.5 months to sell the rest. Okay, that's what's called absorption time. And if you forget what I went over, you just click on that little question mark there and you get the full explanation. Sometimes I feel like I need a degree in statistics to read some of this, but supply is down. That means there's fewer listings on the market. And the demand is down slightly also, but that's probably because supply is down. People are not finding enough homes to make the choice. But and if you're a real geek, you can toggle over to the report part of it and get all the numbers, the actual numbers. How did they come up with those graphs? You can download those numbers, etc. So just to review how I got to that one, it was, let me just zoom back out. Okay, here on the market statistics, you just click on go to market statistics for that last one that I showed you, and the one with the three, the blue and the red is the market report generator. All right, we have a question. Yes, we are going to talk Milagros. Oh, perfect timing. She asked me about collab on the phone. So I don't know if you've noticed, but if you try to go to this on a phone, if you go and log in on the phone, you're probably going to go blind, right? It's just way too much for a phone. So the program that we use that's part of Stratus is called Collaborate. And I would recommend that you use that on your phone to look at listings. And I would also recommend that you put RPR. I actually have a slide here, and I'm going to give you a moment to do this. So I want you to take your phone now, just take your phone out. And whether you have an iPhone or an Android, go to where you get your apps. Go to the App Store or go to the Google Play Store or Google Play Store. I'm not sure what it's called. Okay. So what you're going to do with the first one is type exactly what I have here in the search. Look for the magnifying glass and click on that and type in Stratus space with a space in between collab. And you'll see it come up looking like this. Now, don't get confused by the ad. There's always an advertisement. You can see the little blue ad there that comes up above what you were asking for. So I'm amazed at how many people will download something from an advertisement. But the one you want is called Stratus Collab. You'll see Get here if you don't have it. I had open because I already have it. When you do download this onto your phone, you're going to use your Stratus ID and password to get into it. Same one you do to log into Stratus is used for Collab. Okay, and it is the best way for you to look for listings from your phone, the best. And then as you get a little more advanced, you'll be able to learn how you can set up clients there and set up text message alerts for your clients. It's really got some great features. Okay, so the other one I want you to put on your phone, if you go back to the App Store and your search, and this time you're going to search for RPR mobile. It doesn't need to be uppercase, just RPR and then a space and then mobile. Now this one's going to be a little bit trickier to get into. When agents join, NAR and RPR email every new agent a password to use for this program, but many of you never saw it. You saw it and deleted it. You didn't know what you needed it for. So the easiest thing to do is to just click on Forgot Password. They already know your email address. They know your email address that you gave to LIBOR, and we sent it to them. So with that email address, don't use a different one. Use the one you gave LIBOR. You will then put that in, and they will email you a link to reset your password for RPR. And you will see this is also a phenomenal way to use to look for listings. You can search all 50 states. You've got a quick little CMA you can do with it. It's just really a fabulous tool. So I hope everybody will try both of these. These two slides, the one with my info and how to get these two, are in your handouts. Okay, so let's just stop a moment. Anybody who came late, in your GoToWebinar panel on the right side is your handouts. I put 5 things. I attach 5 things. If you click on each one, it'll download to your computer, those 5 things. The abbreviations, what does LSC mean, and UC and PC and all of those abbreviations, I put that in there for you. But if you don't get them, if you can't download, just go to this page and you'll have my email address, boconnor@mlsli.com. Okay, you can write that down. Now, don't forget, we have a customer service, or maybe you weren't even aware of this. We have customer service department that knows 10 times more than I do. Okay, so I'm going to put their information, contact information, in the chat over here on the side. So first of all, the phone number 631-661-4800, and they are extension 1. So I'm sending you that in the chat. And they have an email address, customerservice@mlsli.com. So if you have questions about Stratus, about Collab, you call them. They're there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and they will get you an answer, okay? If they specifically can't answer it, they'll get somebody who can answer it. So they're there. There's at least 7 of them that answer the phones all day long. That's what they do. That's what they're there for. And you also can use them to register for classes. If you prefer to register for LIBOR classes, um, without doing it on the computer, they can do it for you by phone. Now, 2 things I wanted to mention is we have lots of classes for you to take. So if you go to LI Realtor and you go to education, you're going to go to your classroom and you'll see all kinds of classes that you can take on Stratus and all technology. What I'd like to do under type is just narrow it down to Stratus and Tech CE, and then it kind of filters through and you'll see, okay? If you're new and you want that free demo, just look for this here, free MLS demo, okay? We have one coming February 24th in Woodbury. When's the next one? West Babylon, March 5th, Jackson Heights, March 5th, same date. And I'm sure there's one in Riverhead at some point. So you can go to any of those free classes to get more help with Stratus and Collab. And lastly, I want to mention that I am doing private tutoring. I have a whole catalog of courses that, I'm sorry, of dates where you can hook up with me just the way we're doing this now, but it would just be you and me, and I would be able to hear your voice, and we would be able to just go back and forth. So it's private tutoring, but it's done on the computer like a webinar. And we can cover whatever you want, Stratus, Collab, RPR, a little bit of each, whatever you think. So the information about that, I believe, is right on the info center, right here under the current tip. Just look for this 1 hour private online tech class. That's what I'm talking about. And I have a whole bunch, I've scheduled all the way out through the first week in March, and there's lots of dates to choose from. So I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to do one last check for questions. Beautiful. Okay, it looks like there's nothing new, and so I hope you have a terrific day. Look for the recording in the support center of this webinar after I get this finished. It'll take me probably just a couple of hours to get that up. Okay, everyone, have a great day. Email me if you need help. Bye now.